It's time for WFO Radio NHRA Nitro. Here's your host, Joe Costello.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to NHRA Podcast, WFO Radio. Thank you so much for subscribing. I'm Joe Costello. If this is your first show, fans of Tommy Johnson Jr., clicking on here to TJ, talk about his first win. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. We got a loaded archive. We speak with the winners every week following NHRA national events, and it really feels good to get back into the groove with the winners here after race 2 of the NHRA season. The Gator Nationals are next. I'm very excited about that. We're going to have a couple of weeks in between where we're going to have a lot of great stuff. Hopefully you will click subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and check out the show. Tommy, just seconds away, do want to mention our great sponsors, the people who make it possible for us to sit around all day and catch up with drag racers. People like Frank and Lana Hawley and Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. You want your Super Comp or Super Gas license? You want to learn how to drive a top alcohol funny car? They have invited me to go on the Dragster Adventure, March 27th, Gainesville Raceway. I'm going to be in the class. If you'd like to be in the same class as me, you can call 866-480-7223. But the Dragster Adventure, a really great program that travels around the country. Check out the website, frankhawley.com. Also, RodakCoffeeandGrills.com. Marvin Rodak makes gourmet coffee. He blends it together. He roasts it fresh per your order. It is next level stuff from all around the world. The best coffee from around the world, RodakCoffeeandGrills.com. 817-924-6821. MagicDryUS.com for you shop owners or people who are in a situation where you need something to clean up spills. It absorbs 560% of its weight. MagicDryUS.com. They're on board with Scott Palmer, doing a great job thanks to MagicDryUS.com. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. 800-874-2753. Specific for the engine builders or people who are having an engine built for the street, for your bracket car, for high-performance engine, all the way up to Formula One. I don't know if we got any of those folks listening, but TotalSeal.com. Check it out. They are the best in the business, the leader in ring seal technology. And samtech.edu, the School of Automotive, Machinists, and Technology. Start your education at full speed with samtech.edu. Not only can they give you the education, but they can get you placement in one of their relationships in the racing world or in the high-tech world. 713-683-3817. As I said, fans of Tommy Johnson Jr., fans of Don Schumacher Racing, it is time. Joining us now, he is the funny car winner, race 2 of the 2020 Mellow Yellow Series season, the Arizona Nationals, an early victory at the track that he made his debut in the nitro ranks. Tommy Johnson Jr. TJ, congrats.
Thanks. Appreciate it, man. Good week.
It was a good week. It was a good week for you guys. I noticed in qualifying. I was like, oh, keep your eye on those guys. And sure enough, went to the final round. Doug Chandler had a really good day with both cars in the final round. What was it about this given weekend that you guys seem to just start off strong?
You know, we've ran well all season. We haven't been the car that's dominated or anything, but we've had some really nice runs. And you know, qualifying, I think top 4 both races to start the season. It goes back to qualifying. I mean, if you look at, you know, you can win from any position, yes, but you need to qualify well. You need to start off and, you know, have a good qualifying effort. It just kind of sets the weekend. And we've been qualifying well. We've had a couple runs here and there where it didn't go as good as we'd like, but it was just a small problem we had. And during the rain delay there Saturday morning, they kept working on things. And after Q2, we knew there was an issue. We shouldn't be dropping cylinders at the hit of the throttle. Why is it doing this? And the guys worked hard all night and then Saturday morning during the rain and said, I think maybe this is it. So we changed some stuff and come out the last qualifying run, laid down a good run, went to number 4 and 4 solid runs on Sunday. So hopefully that little drop on the hole issue is gone, and now we can just concentrate on picking away at it and making it a little better.
It's funny to listen to you speak about it, and I'm sure that listeners, people who follow the sport on a regular basis, you know, maybe get desensitized to what you just described. Like, yeah, and then they worked on the fuel system and it stopped having the problem, and then we went out and won the race. But there's a lot to that, like the balance of the fuel system and the clutch and the load and the conditions in the air. And it's unfortunate, you know, I know Alan does nitro school every week, but to be in the brain center, right, with John and everybody's trying to sort out like how and why, and then it works. That must be a great process to be able to observe.
Yeah, it was actually. I actually brought something to the attention of John, after the qualifying run on Friday, and I said, I don't think this is right. There's something going on here. It was, something to do with what I was doing. You're not going to tell everybody. I can't tell you what it was, but,
Right.
there was something that when in the car, I thought, this doesn't feel right to me. So I mentioned it to him, and I said, would this contribute to dropping cylinders? And he goes, maybe, I don't know. And we had changed some stuff on the fuel system over the winter, and to make it better. In our minds, this was going to make it better. And the last, the neat thing I heard was, this doesn't make sense, but this is what's happening, and it goes against what should make sense. And they buck the system basically. If you sit down and go, no, we can't do that. That doesn't make sense. We're not going to do that. But it did. It works. And they're trying to. They have some theories of why it works, but they made the change and kind of went with it, and the car come alive. So I think sometimes you just got to be a little open-minded to these things. I always said nitro cars kind of do what they want. They're not very predictable. They're not. It's stuff that shouldn't happen, but it does. And I think when you put nitro in the tank and fire one of these things up, anything can happen. So sometimes you got to go against the theory, and they did, and it paid off.
I want to talk about you round by round, how you got to the final, some really good races, very tough races. Everybody got down the track against you guys, right? There was no easy run or, one where it didn't work out. Like everybody, what was it? Let me just look at it real quick. Okay, Beckman, obviously, in the final round, they were trying to rotate the earth, but everybody else really got after it. The slowest run against you was a 91 by Tasca. He did go red. But I want to talk about last year, though, because we spoke a couple of times last year, and you really had confidence going into the countdown, and then it just didn't materialize. And so what was learned from that experience? I referenced something on the mic, like I know how motivated you guys all were and how excited you all were as you were kind of getting to crunch time of the season last year, and then it just didn't work out. I know it's tough, but in that period, what happened and what have you learned from it that you've been able to apply so it doesn't happen again?
Yeah, it was disappointing last season, to have such a good season. The regular season was so good, and it's best we'd ever done and best we'd come into the countdown. And in the past years, we seemed to come on towards the countdown, and we thought, boy, this is going to be great. This year we're looking good. We're going to start as high in the countdown, and we're going to be able to continue what we've done the past few years and make this work. And it didn't. The car was running great, and we tried to go a little bit different direction, tried to make it better, and it was in the clutch area. It just did not like what we were trying to do. And sometimes even when you do recognize it, this isn't working, let's just go back. And sometimes you try to go back and it doesn't work. These cars are temperamental, clutch disc change, and you get a different disc, and all of a sudden your whole tune-up's gone. And it just worked out to where when we got to the countdown, it wasn't working, and over the wintertime, they were determined, let's go another direction. This is not going to work. We're one of the few cars that run a 5-disc clutch. A lot of guys run 6. We run a 5, and John likes the way the car performs with the 5, and thinks that he can have more adjustability with the 5-disc clutch than the 6. And so he kind of reevaluated the whole program this winter and come out and said, I think we're going to take a little bit from what we had in the regular season last year, and I still think there's some good of what we were trying to do in the countdown. We just didn't do it right. And we've matched the two this time, and unfortunately we're about 5 months too late for the championship. But now we're better than we were last year, and I know he came out and wanted to really turn it around. We were disappointed in how we ran the countdown, and his goal was to come out and prove that we fixed it, and this is the right way to go. And right now it looks great. It's a long season. That's the problem. You can run great at points in the season. I think you see everybody do it from time to time. A car will go out and just dominate, and then all of a sudden, 6, 7 races later, they're out smoking the tires, can't get down the track, and it's just it's hard to keep one of these cars running consistently strong all season long. And hopefully you learn from your mistakes and make it more consistent. I don't think you can ever have a car that, well, Steve Torrance did for 6 races, but that's the exception. It's hard to make one run consistently for that long. And if you can do that over a good basis, make it run pretty consistent all the time, then you have a much better shot at it.
On the 5-disc clutch storyline, I know why Ron Tobler likes it, and I know John is kind of on the tree of Ron Tobler, the crew chiefing tree, and that those two cars kind of share data, et cetera. And I get it, but I often wonder, is it handcuffing you in any way? And I've asked around, and I hear that the answer is no. It's just two different philosophies. And when you talk about running out of clutch discs, using one less per period across the board, that's got to be beneficial. What say you? You just won this race. It seems like the 5-disc cars are just as competitive, maybe better in certain conditions. But what's your opinion about that whole thing?
Yeah, I actually suggested to John at one time, maybe we should run a 6-disc at the beginning of the season when it's cool and there's great conditions. Through the summer, 5-disc I think is probably better, more adjustable and forgiving than the 6. And then maybe we should put the 6-disc back in for the countdown when the weather starts to turn and get better again. But he kind of frowned at that idea. But it definitely has that kind of feel to it. The 5-disc is a little more forgiving when the racetracks get hot out there. You put an extra disc in there and it wants to grab. It's harder to can make it continue to slip. When you have the 5-disc, it's a little easier to let it slip for a while. So, in my opinion, if we can continue to run good in the cooler conditions, and we have the first couple of races of the year, we had low ET first round in Pomona, we had low ET second round in Phoenix. It continued to be like that, and then work our way into the summer months. I think that's where we'll really shine is the 5-disc in our car has been able to perform really well. That's where we've had a lot of success. You get to the hot races like Chicago in the middle of the summer, and throughout the hot seasons, we've ran really well. So if we could fix our performance with the 5-disc in the cool, tight track conditions and be able to run with those guys, I don't see any disadvantages of it at all.
Very interesting. All right, let's go round by round. Where first round you had to run Paul Lee, the number 13 qualifier, but that's not indicative of that car's performance. From what I understand, that is a clone of the Napa car. Tobler and that team helping Jimmo and Paul and that group get the program together, and so things are run very similar, which you guys are very similar to those guys as well. So you had to know what they were capable of and what they had. And John told us on the starting line that they were not going to sneak up on you. And so your 87 beats their 89 in what was a very entertaining first-round matchup.
Yeah, that car runs really well. That car's come out. They've only been out a few times here. Coming on, but the performance of that car has been really good, and we know that it's very similar to the Napa car, and it comes out of the Don Schumacher camp. It has a big alliance with Don, and they work out of the shop there, and know that that car is capable of running the big numbers. So they struggled during qualifying, so you knew coming into they had nothing to lose. I sometimes I would rather run somebody that I know better than that. That when they come out and run well in qualifying, okay, this is going to be a tough car. But you run somebody like that is capable of running really well, but didn't in qualifying. They have nothing to lose. Come out, let's throw it at it and see if it sticks. And a lot of times it does. And we kind of had that in the back of our mind that they're going to be tough. They're going to be right there. I just had a feeling that they would get it figured out and be a tough opponent. So yeah, we came up there not taking them lightly by any means. And when we got out the other end, they told me the ETs, and I'm like, wow, it's closer than I thought. I could hear him over there, but didn't realize it was even that close.
You were able to get off the starting line ahead of Paul. I'm sure that is beating him up to this moment right now. And your reaction time, 0:58. Wilk was 0:57. I know in first round you're not rolling in deep at all, no matter what. So you saw it really well. That's a good light.
Yeah, I knew I had to be on my game. It's last year in the countdown. It's driver. It takes confidence. It's a mental game. It's people talk about physical part of the sports all the time, but what we do is a tremendous mental game, and to be able to concentrate and focus and some of the things that we did change on the fuel system helped my reaction times, and we instantly saw that I was struggling to get lights early in this part of the season. At Pomona, I was just trying to crush it, and was coming up with so results, and all of a sudden we fix a few things, and the car has a lot to do with your driver, cutting a good light, how fast the car reacts. And the changes we made, I instantly told him, yes, that's better. I think it helped my lights. Well, come first round, I bared down on it a little bit and instantly had a better light, and the car reacted better and ran better. So that was a thing from him working on the fuel system, helping not only the performance of the car, but also helping the driver as well. So I was happy to see that. Got my confidence level back up. You know, we were struggling to count down last year. Even I fell off because I felt like I had to make up for the car. And when you seem to try too hard, it goes the other way. So once you get that confidence level back, things seem to get a little easier.
You tighten up a little bit as you're trying to bear down. You tighten up, and then there it is. I recall you telling me that that's not the first time you've had that issue, over your career, which is a long one, by the way, debuting out there at the Arizona Nats in like 1980. What was it, 1989?
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
A couple years ago.
Yeah. Well, you started very young, and that's your benefit, right? You started out very, very young. But I recall you telling us on WFO years ago that there was a situation where, you were hitting the tree, hitting it hard, hitting it well, and getting bad lights. And then all of a sudden you got, went to the videotape, right? And at the time, the video cameras were not nearly as good and clear. And, the butterflies were opening, but the car wasn't going anywhere. And that taught you guys a lot. It's amazing that is still very applicable.
Yeah, you learn a lot of things. Hopefully you learn a lot of things over the years of doing this. And then one thing I've learned is that sometimes when you try to do something you're just not capable of doing, you're trying to make up for the car, or you go out there and try to, I gotta cut a killer light, I gotta push, it ends up usually biting you because you're trying to do something you shouldn't be trying to do. And if you just rely on your instincts and just relax and try to do the best you can do and know of your capabilities, it seems to work out better. And it's every time I've really tried to push and make something happen before, usually it ends up biting you. And try to learn that. We're all human. We still do stuff we shouldn't be doing. But every now and then you'll just relax and kind of see the big picture and go, okay, look, I'm just going to go out here and do it. If it doesn't happen, it can't 100% be totally me screwing it up. So it can be if you're trying to push too hard. So I just went up there and thought, okay, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm not going to try to do anything that's not there, and sometimes when things are all working perfectly, you get those good results.
There you go. And good advice for everybody out there. One of the reasons you got to subscribe to WFO Radio NHRA podcast is for the great advice from our winning drivers. Second round, you go up against Bob Tasca, another very strong car out there, and, a lot of all-stars over there with Neff, and they're quick and they're fast, and Bob is very motivated. And you guys uncork an 86.4. You're 0.75 off the starting line, low ET of the round. But he went red next to you, and there were 3 red lights in that round. Jeff Deal went red, 5 thou against Caps. He didn't get down the track. Wilk went 14 red with an 88.7. He was very disappointed because he said he saw a lot of it, and Tasca went deep red, 0.53. So many red lights. Were you seeing anything that was not necessarily normal or unusual, or do you think everybody was just amped up on this given day?
Yeah, I mean, I can see where Bob went red. I actually, when we got to the end of the track, I knew why he went red. It was a long tree. There's, the randomness of the tree timing when it comes on is sometimes can be short. I mean, semifinals I had a quick tree, but second round against Bob, it seemed a little long to me. When I staged, we rolled up there, and John actually rolled me a little too far, and it put me in the pre-stage beam before I was actually wanting to be in the pre-stage. And it was no big deal. I just sat there, and I gave him plenty of time. Bob rolled in, and I went ahead and stuck it in the stage beam. And then Bob took a little bit. He stuck it his end, and then we had a long tree. It was the randomness of it seemed to be on the long side, and I actually was like, throw the switch, man, let's go. It seemed long. It was sitting in the car. It seemed like forever to me too. So when he left, I went, I thought it was long too. So I think the 3 red lights out of four pairs second round was just a coincidence. But, in our case, I think it had to do with just a little extra long light, and Bob was trying to crush it.
So first round 87.8, second round 86.4, semifinals, here we go. Caps versus TJ, Ron Tobler versus John Collins. That's always fun because they have such a great relationship, the 2 5-disc cars, the 5-disc mafia, all that stuff. And it shaped up to be one of the best races of the day. If memory serves me right, Ron Capps double bulbed you. Or maybe not. I remember being on the starting line noticing that, but that's out of the ordinary. I don't know if that was on purpose or it just kind of crept in on him, etc. But you won the race on a hole shot. I think it was 3 thou at the stripe. You're 79, he's 89, so 100 advantage to you. You run 87.1, he runs 86.4, and a couple of thou.
Yeah, that was a tight race, and the first thing, Caps, we got to the top end, he came out and he goes, "Man, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do." I said, "No, it's cool." It was almost the same thing I'd done the round before. I'd rolled in too far just on the pre-stage ball, but when Ron went to rolling in on the pre-stage, it went too far, and he went in and staged both bulbs, and I saw it, and there's all kinds of games you could play up there on the start line when something like that happens. You could try and screw with somebody, or there's leaves a lot of options open, put it that way. And I decided not to let it bother me. I didn't want to change my routine just because he went in and put both bulbs on. You got 7 seconds after that. I kind of took a deep breath, gave him a little time, because I knew he was going to, hurry and put it on the high side, get off the clutch pedal, because he's already staged and it wasn't part of his routine. And I gave it a quick second, let him think about it a little bit. Then I threw it on and went in, I told him, I said, no, it's no problem. I knew he would never do that on purpose. We're teammates, and maybe if it was a championship on the line, you might try to screw with somebody, but at the same time, it usually ends up biting you. Like I said earlier, when you try to do something out of the ordinary, or out of your realm, it usually ends up biting yourself. But he did a good job. I mean, he didn't have a bad light at all. It's just, I just wanted to stick to my routine and do my thing. And more times than not, that'll pay off. But that was a tight race. I heard him all the way down the track. You can, a lot of times, sometimes you can hear him, sometimes you can't. And for whatever reason on Sunday, I could hear guys next to me, and I could hear him the whole way. I thought, "Ooh, that's a pretty close race." I saw the light come on and never realized it was 3 thou. I didn't know it was that close. I could hear him, but I didn't know he was that right there. So just a good drag race. When it comes down to being that close, whole shot win, that sounds great. But as a reality of a driver, it's, it wasn't much of a whole shot. It's they're so tight anymore. You just try to do the best you can and hope it comes out on your side.
Yes, and the humble nature of the victorious funny car driver coming out there. Look, man, it's you left the line first. You ran a slower ET. You won the race. Maybe double bulbing like that. Got Caps out of his routine, just like you said, or it was just the race of the day. In that also, like that was as good as it gets. 86 versus 87, the race of the day in funny car, as far as I am concerned. To go to the final, then you go to the final against Jack Beckman, who has been as hot as they come. Won the finals, won the Winter Nationals, goes to the final round at the Arizona Nationals. So talk about prepping for running against the hottest team in funny car racing at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, they've been stellar here lately. If you're going to run Jack, it looks like you want to run him first round. That's when they struggle the most. First round of eliminations, they've at both races didn't get down the track without having to pedal it. So going into the final, I mean, you wanted to maintain what you're doing, because I think that was the only thing that we had an advantage on. As we went down the track, all 3 runs where they'd went down 2 out of the 3. They had seen how consistent our car was. They knew they had to push a little bit, because we actually outran them, had lane choice for the final and had a really solid car. So they knew they had to step it up a little bit and just get a little more. And I don't know if there was a little more there. Obviously there wasn't in their lane. So just overstepped the boundary a little bit. And, it's funny thinking about it afterwards and I hadn't thought about it as we rolled up into the water boxes. You have to tell yourself sometimes, the final round sometimes is your easiest round. I've seen it over and over and over all throughout my career. Is you fight all day to get to the final, and then the final seems to just fall into your hands. And it's you have to keep that in mind so you don't overamp yourself when you go into that into the final round. You have to go in there and be more relaxed. You can't let the final round get to you just because you get there and go, man, we got to win this thing. We're in the final. We got to win it. You can't let that be a factor. You got to go up there and just convince yourself that, hey, we'll go up and do our job, which we've been doing all day. This is going to go our way. So, that's kind of was my mindset going into it, and it all worked out.
Yes, absolutely. And Jack up in smoke, 030 light, looked like he dove it in there a little bit. 88 with a 3.
Trust me, I was giving him a hard time. I said, 30, really? Trust me, I rolled it in a mile, he said.
Yeah. Well, hey, and that's what we're going to see.
I gave it a little bump, but I didn't stage with the rear tires.
Well, yeah, he staged with the rear tires. And can't help but think about Terry Chandler, Doug Chandler, the Giving Cars, Infinite Hero, all those years with Make-A-Wish, now with MD Anderson, which I think is definitely, I don't want to compare charities, but I guess I just started in that it's mainstream, right? Cancer. This is something that it's connected to all of us, like everybody, myself, everybody has got someone who is fighting, has fought, will fight cancer. and that's got to change the dynamic that you are seeing out there at the track. Talk a little bit about that relationship.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's really great to Doug. He said we need to spotlight some other things. There's so many good foundations and charities out there that are doing so many great things. He goes, I just feel like it's time that we recognize another one, and it's very dear to his heart. This is where he came down with a brain tumor, and Doug has been there himself. Don Schumacher, the team owner, has been to MD Anderson, and they've seen firsthand what good things they're doing, and Doug wanted to bring some light to that and see if we can't help that some more and speed up their processes by bringing some money for MD Anderson Cancer Center and to do that research. The research they're doing there is phenomenal, and their record of helping people is incredible these days. And like you said, I don't know anybody that doesn't have some sort of a tie to a cancer. It's unfortunate nowadays that everybody's that way, but if we can do something to make it better and reduce it some, and this weekend we're 2 races into the season, and I'm blown away by how many people have come to me that have a tie to MD Anderson through themselves, a person, their family, a friend. We've even started to doing pictures at the trailer to help just show support for those loved ones. Is you come up and get your picture taken. We have a sign that says I was treated at MD Anderson, or I know somebody or I love that's been treated there. And we're going to do a new program, I think, even in Gainesville, that make a donation to MD Anderson, and we'll got a sticker, you can sign it and put your name on the car, and just trying to get some momentum with this, because I think we can do a lot of good things, and it is definitely it seems to be very what am I trying to say, personal to the race fans, because there are so many ties to it, and they've been very supportive of it, and anything we can do to make it better, I'm all for it.
And that was my question with the Make-A-Wish kids. I could see, the tie-in to the project, but with MD Anderson, what are the programs that you're going to do to loop them in and just, generate interest value for them, so that people understand what they do, and the direct in addition to awareness, like how are you helping them was basically my question, and I think you've pretty much answered it.
Yeah, there's a special MD Anderson Cancer Center, and it's they have a fundraising link on their website. You can go in there and make a donation, and you can put DSR FC as your code in there, and it knows that it came strictly from the promotional side of the drag racing. You can support our sport, by saying, hey, I'm a fan of drag racing, and I wanted to make a donation, and I wanted you to know it came from the drag racing world. So that is very cool. And maybe we're trying to, it's a work in progress, Joe. You want to be able to give back something for the fans that they feel like they're being a part of it. And that's what this whole program is about. Jack has the coins with the Infinite Hero program, and we're looking at different programs for our team as well, just to let the fan be a part of it. Say, hey, I got a stake in that team. I approve what they're doing. I support it, and I want to be a part of it. So I think they're going to roll something out, in Gainesville to try to get the fans involved and let them be a part of the team. And if you can put your sticker on the car and your name's on that car, and that car goes to Winter Circle this weekend, you can kind of feel like you were a part of the Winter Circle, celebration. So lots of different things, lots of new ideas. And if anybody's got one they think is a great idea, let me know. I'll be more than happy to do it. I think it's a great cause and doing a lot of great things for a lot of people. So I want to be a part of it.
There you have it. Tommy, congratulations. Huge win, emotional win at the track that you first ran, any kind of nitro, anything. You go back and win a race in a different century, right? A different decade of a different set. Like your nitro career, let's do the math real quick, spans 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 decades at that track if you really fudge the numbers. Right? 89 to 2020, right? The 2020s, the 20-teens, the 20-Os, the 90s, and the 80s. We're fudging the numbers a little bit depending on when you think this decade started, but there's a big debate about that. So I'm going to do it, though. 5 decades you've been running nitro at Wild Horse Pass.
Yeah, I tell everybody I'm not old. I'm just experienced. But it's been fun. I love to be able to do this for so many years, and you look out there, and if you look at the career of John Forrest and what he's done, and to know that you're next on the list, been doing it the longest that's currently out there, and it makes you feel a little old, but at the same time makes you feel awful proud that you've been able to sustain all the things and be able to make it last that long and still be out there being competitive and winning races. And it's funny, when I first started, I was the kid. I was the young kid that racing a bunch of adults basically. And now it's kind of changed over the years. And now I'm seeing all these young kids coming into our sport. And I suddenly went from the young guy to the veteran. And, I'm not going to use the word old guy. I'm going to use the word veteran. I like it better. But it's neat. It's a neat feeling to be able to see sport, go all these years and grow and evolve and see these new guys coming in and every now and then throw a piece of advice at them that sometimes maybe I wished I had when I was starting out. So it's just a neat to be able to be a part of that sport like that and I kid Force all the time. I says, we're the two old guys out here now doing this, and it's hard to believe that I can actually say that put myself in that same category as Forrest, is saying that the veteran of the sport out here.
Amazing. No, it's an amazing stat because you just started off very, very young, and you're an example of what the future is hopefully going to be because of all these junior dragster kids who started out when they were like 5 and 8 years old, and they're jumping into some of these faster cars, not necessarily a nitro car, but faster cars soon as they can and getting that experience, and we'll see them coming. Hopefully the sport continues on for a long, long time, and we can see that all play out. Tommy, congratulations on your win. Very early season victory. That is very good for the MD Anderson Cancer Center Dodge Charger. Appreciate you coming on WFO Radio, hopefully many more times over the course of the rest of the season. And good luck. We'll see you in Gainesville. Thank you for coming on the show.
Appreciate it, Joe. Thanks. Hopefully this won't be the last time.
Thanks, Tommy. Tommy Johnson Jr. with us here on WFO Radio, NHRA Podcast. Great to hear from him. And if you love Tommy, share the show, right? Copy, paste the link, share it out there on your social media. I felt like that was a great debrief session because I always learn. Tommy is one of the great drivers in the category. How about that? Spanning a career over 5 decades. And the guy's only 50-something years old. Is that right? Well, according to Alan Reinhart, 2020 isn't the next decade. And I get what he's saying because 20 is 10, and that's the first decade because there's no year 0. But just let me spin it. 5 decades, 80s, 90s, aughts, teens, 20s. Sound fair to me? I think it does. I think it works. 5 decades. He's so old. Kidding, Tommy, kidding. Thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it. More WFO to come. Torrance in the archive. Reinhardt in the archive. Ignition coming soon. Erica Enders, the 3-time Pro Stock champ, begins the title defense, trying to go back-to-back again with a win in race 2, sets low ET. Big day for Erica Enders. We're going to hear from Erica coming up not long from now, so stay tuned. In the meantime, share the show, and you could send me a self-addressed stamped envelope for WFO Radio stickers, Castello Media /WFO stickers. You got to put the postage on it, and you got to fill it out yourself. P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida 33084, and I'll send out the stickers. Usually 4 stickers, good for 1 stamp. But you got to do the work. Self-addressed stamped envelope. Get it? Good. Also, you want a WFO Radio t-shirt? Boy, they were flying off the shelves out there at the Arizona Nationals. Go to nitrofishracing.com to get your WFO t-shirt, or just pick it up at the track in the Nitro Fish trailer. So cool. Really appreciate all you folks out there for listening. Thank you for being WFO Radio listeners and saying what's up at the track. It means so much to me. We're going to keep on doing what we do and catching up with the winners in the NHRA Mellow Yellow Series. Thank you so much. More to come.
This is WFO Radio.
I love WFO Radio. Oh, yeah.
The views and opinions of the hosts, guests, or callers do not necessarily reflect that of the station ownership, advertisers, or agencies.
Start your education at full speed with the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Accelerate your career as a high-performance engine builder with classroom instruction and practical hands-on experience in the lab, on the dyno, and at the track. In addition to the blockhead and CNC programs, SAM now offers motorsport, EFI tuning, and an Associates of Applied Science degree. And SAM is a military-friendly school, approved to train veterans and other eligible persons under the GI Bill. Start your education at full speed. Go to samtech.edu today.
You're working in the shop, you've got spills, you've spilled oil, it's everywhere. What are you going to do? I know what you're going to do, but that's not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to go to magicdryus.com and order the official organic absorbent of the National Hot Rod Association, Magic Dry. It's lighter, it absorbs more, it's better for the environment. It's made out of coconut. It's made in America. magicdryus.com. They've got spill kits that include everything you need for a regular, normal household spill, all the way up to a large industrial spill. We always say, if you've got a cat, get Cat Spot. If you've got a shop, if you've got a factory, if you've got a spill, call Magic Dry. That's magicdryus.com. Attention adrenaline junkies, Frank Hawley's Dragster Adventure is calling you. Rides available for the 2020 season. Go to frankhawley.com. They're coming to a track near you. It makes a great gift, and you know the holidays are coming, whether it be licensing for super comp, super gas, all the way up to top alcohol, they can do it. But if you're a drag racing fan and you've always imagined what it might be like to drive a dragster, to accelerate 0 to 60 in 3 seconds and run 10s in the quarter mile, give them a call. 866-480-7223, frankhawley.com, the Dragster Adventure, and tell them you heard it on WFO. Hey, engine builders, Total Seal piston rings are the leader in ring seal technology, and they go out of their way to help their customers and will make custom sets for any specific piston you might have. Customer service, top notch. Made in America? Absolutely. They're located in Phoenix, Arizona, and they've got everything it takes to develop the world's best piston rings. Give them a call at 800-874-2753 or go to TotalSeal.com. We're talking gourmet coffee, we're talking hot sauces, we're talking spice rubs, we're talking everything good at RodakCoffeeandGrills.com. Marvin Rodak, been doing it since the 70s, figured out that life is better with great coffee, and oh, he's so right. 817-924-6821. Call Marvin. He'll roast up some coffee fresh for you. Throw in some hot sauce, some spice rub, and you will be loving it. Hit him up, RodakCoffeeandGrills.com.
Hey, WFO Universe. Want something for free? Send a self-addressed stamped envelope with plenty of postage, and we'll load it up with free WFO stickers. That's right, I said free. Send your envelope, care of Castello Media /WFO stickers to P.O. Box 848353, Pembroke Pines, Florida 33084. Do it now.
This is WFO Radio.